The first battle of the Civil War was the Battle of Bull Run. Union troops gathered around Washington, D.C. in hope of seizing Manassas, Louisiana, which was a vital railroad. The Confederate troops aligned the creek, waiting for the Union troops. The Confederate Army defeated the Union in an easy battle. The Peninsular Campaign. The Union Army approached Richmond from the Atlantic coast. The Confederates were waiting for them. The Confederate defeated the Union forces. Cavalry in Gettysburg. The Confederate attacked, not knowing this would be the biggest battle in the Civil War, lasting 3 days. Finally, after 72 hours of fighting, the Union defeated the Confederate. This crushed Lee's hopes of carrying the battle further up north. 1862, in southwestern Tennessee, the Confederate Army launched a surprise attack on the Union forces. The Confederates created a lot of confusion and damage to the Union Army, but were ultimately defeated on the second day of battle.
The life in the South before the Civil War was all based on slaves. They worked with no pay, and they were treated unfairly like objects, not like people. Many arguments and fights tore the United States apart, and this is what started the Civil War. The Civil War was fought on Southern soil, which gave the Confederates an advantage in where they had neither land and had doctors and shelter nearby. The downsides of having the war on the Confederate ground was that the South's agriculture was ruined by the downfall of the slave system, causing the economy to go in poverty, which meant that food shortages were very common. Eventually, with all the problems, the South was defeated, but that was not the end of the Civil War. But the South was destroyed and in ruins with a very low economy, and is now in poverty. The Union could not leave the South like that, because they were the same country again. This is what started the process called Reconstruction, the time of rebuilding the South back to the civilized country that it is now. Reconstruction was a long and tedious project that wasn't as easy as it seemed. The South had to rebuild its economy and find a new way of making money without slaves involved.
Inaccurate. There were several reasons to the Civil War, including the main one, states' rights. States' rights had been a major issue dating back all the way to the Revolutionary War. The North and South had very different views of states' rights and the power of the national government. The issue of states' rights was such a big problem during this era because of the issue of slavery. The South wanted each state to have the option to keep slavery. The South did not necessarily believe that slavery was right, but they needed slavery to survive, because that's the way they made their money, through plantations and farms. This just caused more tension between the two sides. One other big disagreement was over tariffs on trading. Northern politicians passed a law to put tariffs on foreign trade to slow down the growth of Southern wealth because of big plantations. This law put very high taxes on foreign trade, which angered the Southern plantation owners because most of their business was with European countries such as England. When the law passed, the wealth of plantation owners decreased at a rapid pace. The South was furious. They claimed it was just an attempt to give the North more power. Many brawls broke out in reaction to this. Both of these reasons are points of view on why the South seceded. It did not matter why each individual wanted to break off, because they were all fighting for one thing, their independence.
Slavery started when the North and South couldn't agree on slavery, sprang from the region of the Confederates and Union, which started a war known as the Civil War. There are four main causes that the Civil War started.
the economical differences from south to north. The trade system between them was not fair and got out of hand. Each had different crops, so they couldn't decide on a fair trade. They had social differences. Okay, stop.
The effects of the Civil War. The Civil War was the most devastating time period of the United States. It was the largest war in the United States history, including 600,000 soldier deaths, billions of dollars lost, and many bitter feelings lost. Brothers fought against brothers, causing bitter feelings to arise. The Southerners were angry because they lost their slaves, causing their profit of selling cotton and other items to greatly decrease, causing not only South's profit to drop, but the North's also suffered. At the time when the production of cotton dropped and any items containing or made of wool also decreased, therefore taking a larger toll on the North's economy too. The Civil War changed the United States, and not only the United States, but also the whole world. Slavery is slowly coming to an end in the United States because of the United States' involvement in its effort to try and stop slavery. It's funny to think how one thing can lead to another and turn bigger and bigger and bigger, until that one thing is finally and totally changed. We also lost one of the most looked up to and studied presidents of the United States, Abraham Lincoln, who was assassinated after the war while in a movie theater.